Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, we're going to talk about the brand new Audi Q8 e-tron. We're going to go through the exterior, the interior, pricing, range, battery pack size, the whole lot. And as a former Audi e-tron owner myself, I'm going to tell you guys what I think about this brand new Audi Q8 e-tron. And if you're new here, my name is Chris. I have this channel dedicated to electric cars. We do range tests, reviews, and also cover new electric cars like this new Q8. And I'm also going to attend the world premiere test drive of this car in Spain in December. So if you don't want to miss out on that and all the other new and cool electric cars I'm going to test here on the channel, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and then hit that notification bell and also a thumbs up on the video. That is much appreciated. So thank you very much. Without further ado, here we have it. This is the brand new Audi Q8 e-tron. Well, it actually isn't brand new and it's not a brand new model either. Let me explain if you're not familiar with this car. So Audi's first electric car was the Audi e-tron. You can have that in either 50 version, 55 or S. This is a facelifted version of that car, but the problem with that car was its name, Audi e-tron, with the last badge indicating its battery size and also power output. But as Audi came with more cars, the Q4 e-tron and also the Audi e-tron GT, it was kind of confusing where this car sat in the line and also what are Audi going to do moving forward. So they've now changed it up. This is now the Audi Q8 e-tron, so that is cleared up now. So the old Audi e-tron 50, 55 and S is now with this facelift called the Audi Q8 e-tron. We still have the 50, 55 and S. We're going to hop into that in a second. But first off, I want to talk about the exterior styling. So this is a mid-cycle facelift. The Audi e-tron was revealed back in 2018 and also hit the market in 2019. So it's basically a 3 or 4 year old car, and it's due for a mid-cycle facelift, which is typical after 3 or 4 years. So this is not a revolution. It's more a small evolution on the design because that being quite a brand new car and not old at all, it didn't need too much changes. So the biggest change is the new front area, the new front grille, which now has some active aero. It's actually more like 3D now, where you have, this grille design in the grille. Before it was just completely flat. But now it has, active aero where it can open up for cooling and stuff like that. You also have a light bar in the middle now on top of that grille. That is also brand new, and also a brand new Audi logo that now hides a few sensors. So I think your adaptive cruise control and stuff like that is now hidden because I can't see any cameras in the lower part of the bumper is where they sat before. The lights seem to be the same. You can now also have a body colored grille if you want. And overall, the front bumper is brand new. You have some new, aero trickery on the side vents underneath the bumper, making this car more aerodynamic. And this was also always the big problem with the old Audi e-tron, is that it was kind of inefficient, used a lot of electricity, and almost every other electric car on the market was more efficient. But they've addressed that now, so we now have a 0.27 drag coefficient on the SUV shape. That is down from 0.28, so a little bit better, but the big difference is in the Sportback. So you get this in two body shapes, which is the SUV shape and also the Sportback with that sloping rear roofline. That drops from 0.26 CD or down to 0.24, so quite a difference, and you guys gonna see that's gonna pay a difference in the range when we get into the different variants. But the exterior, other than that brand new frontal area, it's basically the same. I think there are a few new colors. You have 3 new aero design wheels from 19 to 22 inches, and the rear is pretty much the same, and new design on that lower part of the bumper, but the overall shape and everything it is pretty much the same. And also quickly, the interior also unchanged. I think you have some new options with colors and stitching, but it's basically the same. So just a quick rundown. This is built on the MLB Evo platform, which isn't a dedicated electric car platform. This is actually shared with other Volkswagen Group products, such as the Audi Q7, the Porsche Cayenne, Bentley Bentayga, and Lamborghini Urus. All of those are built on this MLB Evo platform. So this isn't a dedicated electric platform, which in some cases has, made this car with a few disadvantages compared to some of its competition. But I think they have addressed that nicely with this new facelift. So first off, the size, 4.91 meters long, width of 1.94 meters, the height is 1.63 meters, and a wheelbase of 2.93 meters. So this is a big electric car. It's not as big as something like the brand new Volvo EX90 that sits a class above this. This is, a little bit shorter, just as wide, same type of wheelbase, also same type of ground clearance, but it's not as tall. So it's not, very large as that car. Trunk space, 569 liters in the SUV version with a frunk of 62 liters. So this is the interesting part, which is the specs. So you still have now a 50 version, a 55, and also an S version. So Q8 E-Tron 50, Q8 E-Tron 55, and Q8 E-Tron S are the new models. So the old E-Tron 50, not the Q, but the old E-Tron 50 had a 71 kilowatt hour battery. That was the net capacity. That model is gone now. The 50 now starts with that old battery you had in the 55, which was 95 kilowatt hours gross, but now is bumped up from 86 kilowatt hours net to 89 kilowatt hours net. So the entry-level model here now has 89 kilowatt hours of usable capacity, which is 3 kilowatt hours more than the big battery in the old version. So that is really, really nice. So all-wheel drive is what you're going to get on the 50, 89 kilowatt hours net, a WLTP rated range of 491 kilometers in the SUV shape, but 505 kilometers in the Sportback. So this is, the basic models with the smallest wheels. Here in Norway, the numbers are a little bit different because we're not going to get these, entry-level versions with the small wheels because of some, options packages. But around the world, this is going to be, the general way you're going to be able to configure these cars. As I said, dual electric motors, 340 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6 seconds, and a peak charging speed of 150 kilowatts. 10 to 80% now is done in 29 minutes. And I was looking at the charging curve here. I'm going to show it on the screen for the bigger battery pack versions. It is a bit different now because the old one had a flat charging curve from basically 0 to 79%. It could do 150 kilowatts flat, and then it dipped down. Now, even with the big battery pack, you're not getting 150 kilowatts before you are at, what's that? I can't see that from this chart, but maybe like 30 or 40%, and then you're going to peak at around 60, and then it drops down. So interesting that the charging curve is actually worse on this new model than it is on the old model. So the 55 also all-wheel drive, but now 106 kilowatt hour net battery capacity, 114 kilowatt hours gross. So you have a big buffer there. WLTP rated range in the SUV version, 582 kilometers, and in the Sportback is 600. So that's your drag coefficient there. 18 kilometers more range in that Sportback version, which is quite substantial. Dual electric motors, 408 horsepower, so that's similar to the old 55. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.6 seconds, which I think is 0.1 seconds down from the old, which had 5.7 seconds. And then 170 kilowatts peak charging speed. And as I said, in that chart, you're going to get that at around 50-60%. 10 to 80% is still done in 31 minutes, which I think is still very good considering that big battery pack. And then we have the S, which also has all-wheel drive, but 3 electric motors. You have 2 electric motors on that rear axle, same 106 kilowatt hour net battery capacity. WLTP rated range in the SUV is 494 kilometers and 513 in the Sportback. This is interesting because there is a huge difference here between the 55 and the S in WLTP rated range. That's almost 100 kilometers, guys. It's about 90 kilometers, which is that's a lot. And I think that is down to that tri-electric motor. And again, my previous video, if you haven't seen the new Volvo EX90, you have, kind of similar power difference and also performance in the 2 top versions. but the range doesn't drop in that Volvo. And that is because it basically has the same powertrain. Here, you're probably going to have bigger wheels, you're going to have, wider fenders, but still, that alone doesn't give you a 90-kilometer deficit on that 55 version. So I think a lot of this is down to that tri-motor, which is interesting. Why are they going that way when it shows to be quite inefficient? So overall, this is a very nice facelift and a much needed update on the hardware side. So the facelift, I mean, it looks better. I think the grille is more interesting. It has, more of an identity. This wasn't an ugly car before, but it wasn't, super pretty. Even when I owned one, I wasn't super fond of the exterior styling. I thought it was nice, but nothing more than that. I think this update makes it more interesting, but will be interesting to see the different colors and also the wheel combos and maybe, the different exterior packages. I haven't, been able to check out the configurator because it wasn't up yet when I checked it earlier today. But overall, I think it is a nice update, making this car, maybe just a little bit better looking. It's still better looking than something like the BMW iX. But talking about the iX, that car, when it hit the market earlier this year or late last year, had much better hardware than this car. So this car really needed a bigger battery with longer range and better efficiency. So what they've done here is that in that old 95 kilowatt hour footprint, that old big battery pack, they now managed to get a 20% denser battery, managing to room a 114 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is really impressive. But on top of that, they've also managed in just 3 to 4 years to make this car 6 to 9% more efficient across the whole board, which is really, really impressive. So my old car, which was a 2020 model, I got that delivered in September 2020. I had it for a year. I drove it 25,000 kilometers. And if you're interested in that, I have a lot of videos here on the channel of that car. I made a lot of videos on that car. So what is interesting here is that that car had 420 kilometers of WLTP rated range. The new similar one now has 582. So that is 162 kilometers more range in just 2 years with that car, which is really, really impressive. So it will be really interesting to see in another 3 to 4 years when we get a brand new model, hopefully on a dedicated platform. Will we see another 150, 60 kilometer range bump, putting that car at well above 700 kilometers of range? I don't see any reasons why we won't be able to see that improvement for a few years now moving forward, with improved aero, with improved design, with improved efficiency, and also, denser battery packs and stuff like that. So it will be really interesting to see. This car really needed that update, with the BMW iX, the Polestar 3 now coming to market, and also the Volvo EX90. Of all of those cars, I still think the EX90 is my favorite. And if you haven't seen my video on that, I will link that in the description box down below. But lastly, I didn't talk about pricing. Hopefully I showed the pricing on the screen when I talked about the different versions in a whole bunch of different currencies. But this car is more expensive than the old one, and with Audis that is always very different, because I remember when I bought my car a week later they bumped up the prices, but now after they bumped up the prices the car seems to be cheaper. My car out of the door was 827,000 kroners. This car 751,000 kroners starting price here in Norway with the advanced package. So until that configurator is up, I'm not sure, but I think it's competitively priced. I think it's probably going to be about 100,000 kroners more expensive than the old one, but it may be even cheaper. So yeah, that is the brand new Audi Q8 e-tron. I like the update. Will I be getting one? I don't think so in the foreseeable future, because I had one about a year ago and I have a lot of cars on my list that I want to get. But the S version could be really interesting, but it's the least efficient also, so kind of hard of a decision there. So guys, let me know, are you excited about this new Q8 e-tron facelift? Do you have one on order? Do you plan on ordering one? Do you like it? Don't you like it? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.